Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Maribel. I am the yarn dyer behind Rainier Rose's Yarn, and today I'm going to be showing you everything that I've worked on in the month of January. So last time I did one of these videos was March of last year. I got pregnant, and while I was pregnant, all of the knitting, cross-stitching, crafty mojo was like sucked right out. So I had a little bit of an existential crisis of thinking, do I actually like knitting during that time? And lo and behold, when she came out, all that mojo came back. So the answer is yes, I do love knitting and crafting, and I am here to show you everything that I've worked on in the last month. So it is going to be some knitting and cross stitching and crochet. So I'm going to start off with my with a finish. So this is a finish. It's one of my oldest whips from 2021. So I will show it to you first, and then I will talk about all the details. So this is the Cryptid SAL by the Witchy Stitcher. It was a stitch along back in 2021. So I started it August 1st of 2021. I kept up with a stitch along up until probably January of 22, and there are lots of mistakes, and the reason it's taken me so long is I actually messed up the frame quite significantly, or at least significant in my head. You can see here that this golden stitch is 2 stitches from this black frame, but on this side it's only 1. So this side of my frame is 1 stitch too high. So I did a little modification. I did see someone else in the Witchy Stitcher group post this, and so I decided to kind of copy that. So my Bigfoot is breaking out of the frame, and it kind of just solved that frame problem for me. So yeah, I'm excited. It looks so good. I'm so happy to have this done. It's been in the works for 5.5 years almost. Yeah, so I did stitch this on 14 count Aida, and I dyed this myself. And yeah, I'm so excited that it's done. I even did all of the back stitching, so it's all this little like detail work here, the antennas, and yeah, I'm excited. It's done. I kept putting it down because of the mistakes, and every time I would pick it up, I would make a new mistake. So I kind of just decided with my little existential crisis that this year was going to be a year of like finishing or frogging projects, and not to have lingering whips that are almost 6 years old. So that is my first finish. I do have a half finish. So if you saw in my last video, I was working on this sock. This is the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry, and it looks funky because it is a 2x2 rib and it is not blocked. So I actually finished these last night. Stretch them out so you can actually kind of sort of see the colorway. So I am using my February sock set that I just released a few days ago, and I am using not a contrast color for the foot, for the toe and heel, but more of a coordinating toe and heel. This color is used in the sock, and so yeah, it goes really well with it. I did stitch this up on a US 1.5, which is I think a 2.5 millimeter needle. I don't have sock blockers, so that's why you get to see it in its awkward form. I did plan on going to my local yarn store today, but I remembered it was Monday and they are closed on Monday. So hopefully tomorrow I will go into the shop and hopefully they have some in stock. So This is the first time I've ever done a 2x2 rib. I don't know if I've already said that. It fits and it looks great. It's just funky this way. I won't cast on the second sock anytime soon. So I am doing not necessarily clubs, but monthly sock sets. And so this one is done for February. I have to start dyeing Marches and get that sample knit up. And I think once I'm done with March, I'll come back and finish the second sock. Hopefully, that's the plan. So that is a half finish. And oh yeah, I did do the called for cast off, which is Jenny's surprisingly stretchy cast off. It looks funky again like this because it's not blocked, but it looks really good when it's on. So those are, I'm calling that a finish. Those are 2 finishes that I've had in the last month. So we're gonna get into some of my whips. So this is Passiflora by Ambah O'Brien. It is a pattern that uses mini skeins, so it's meant to be used with either 24 Advent minis or 12 minis with like a main color in between. So this was, the yarn is my 2025 Advent calendar yarn, and it's so beautifully like stitched up. There's something about being a dyer and like knowing your style, knowing how you want to dye something and planning it out, but you don't know if it'll work until you knit it. So this did exactly what I wanted it to do, and I'm so in love with it. I am on day 8 and I'm ready to pick up day 9. I'm using the called for needles, I think, which is a US 5. And yeah, I'm so happy with this. It's so cute. The construction of this pattern is new to me. So what you're going to do is do 2 triangles and then attach them together in the center, I think. If I hear a truck noise. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But yeah, it's an interesting construction. Other than that, it's really easy. It's garter knit, which has been really enjoyable. So there's that. Another project that I have been really putting in some work is this scrappy project. There's not necessarily a pattern for it. I just cast on, I think it was 300 stitches and just started going. So this is all garter stitch as well. I am trying to use every last bit of these leftover mini skeins, so that's why you see all these tails. I will weave them in. I think I want to weave them in, but for my next video. But yeah, all of these colors are Rainier Roses yarn. So it's just going to be all of my yarn throughout the year, which is kind of exciting, kind of like a memory blanket. So this first half here is actually with my June Bloom colorway. I haven't dyed it up in, I don't think I dyed it up last year, but it was one of my more popular colorways from 2 years ago. And this one here is an unreleased colorway. So it's meant to look like a sunset. So the last one in this will be like a neon yellow. And I might release that this year and re-dye everything, but I just love how bright it is. I'm not one for scrappy anything really, but there's something about a scrappy blanket that looks great. And yeah, I love this. I'm using a US size 4, and yeah, this is all fingering weight. I can't remember if I said the other ones were fingering weight, but it's fingering weight. Okay. The last thing that I've knit this month is my Serendipity Sweater, and this is a pattern by Knitting for Breakfast. It is a all over color work yoke. Nope, it's not an all over color work. The yoke is color work. It is a worsted weight yarn. I am using Universal Yarns Deluxe Superwash worsted yarn. I can't remember the colorways off the top of my head. I do have them in my Ravelry project page, which I'm trying so hard to use. I'm terrible at it, but yeah. So all of the yarn colors are in there. I did recently, so I split for the arms, but I actually messed up this last color work row, and I'm debating whether to go back and rip it out and rework it, because it's only 3 rows. But half of me just wants to keep going and not rip it out. I have knit this sweater once before for my best friend back in 2022. And my plan was always to make us matching sweaters, but it took me a lot longer to cast this one on. I don't typically re-knit things. I usually knit them once and then I'm done with them. But I really want matching sweaters with her. She still wears hers and she lives out in Colorado. And I do have these cute little yak needle stoppers. So, I do live in the Seattle area, and February tends to be our coldest month, and part of me wants to just like go all out and knit this and finish this month, but the other half of me like just wants to enjoy knitting on this, and then once it gets cold again in around September, October, then wear it when it's done. So I might do that. I am using US 7 needles for this, and I can't remember if that's the called for. I might have gone up a needle size for my color work, but yeah. I'm so excited for this. I love the colors. These were the closest colors that I could get to the sample in the picture, but yeah, I love it. It's gonna look so cute. Okay. I think this is the only one that I have in a bag. Yeah, it is the only one that I have in a bag. This is by That Crafty Little Fox. I love all of Jessica's bags. Anytime I'm in a Little Nitty, which is my local yarn shop, and she has bags there, I try to get one. So, and the next thing I worked on was another blanket. So this time it's crocheted. This is the Imagination Quilt by Meema Makes, I want to say. I did see this on the Knitty Natty podcast, and I fell in love with it. I'm really feeling blankets this year, and I've been seeing like quilt styled blankets being crocheted. Did I say that right? So anyways, I have 12 squares of undyed. I haven't decided what I want my main colors to be. I do know that I want to dye them and maybe put a kit together for them, but yeah, I'm undecided. I might do my slow yarn fade that I kind of talked about that I did talk about in my last video. I'll put a picture of what I'm talking about here. And it will just progressively go through a bunch of dyes and just keep fading. And I might do that. So for this blanket, I'm only doing one of the 12 squares. I think there's 12. So I'm only doing one of them instead of all 12. And yeah, I'm using a, oh my gosh, I have my hair in my lip gloss. It's distracting me a bit. I am using a 3.5 millimeter hook for this, and I am weaving in the ends as I go. Look at me. I'm not one to weave in my ends. I don't know if you noticed that in any of my other projects, except for the blanket that I showed you that none of the ends were woven in. So yeah, that is all the things that I have worked on knitting and crochet wise. I did go through my oldest whips. I am currently going through my oldest whips and deciding if I'm going to frog them or finish them. And I actually frogged 4 of my oldest knitting whips. So, sorry for the crinkle. In this bag lives 2 sweaters and 2 shawls that I had started. The oldest being my Weekender by Andrea Mowry that I started in 2020. Like April of 2020. There is also a Pint Size So Faded by Andrea Mowry, a Shawlography by Stephen West, and a Breathe and Hope shawl by Casapinka, all in here. I am planning to reuse this yarn and at least the Rios knit my kiddos sweater. And I'm not sure what to do with the other stuff, but I will be reusing these. And yeah, I'm excited to actually have those UFO'd, like completely frogged, and not just lingering whips. So that was fun to do. If I have photos, I try to do like a vlog style video of me like ripping everything out. But if I have photos or stills of videos, I'll put them here on what they look like. Like I was almost done with my Weekender sweater. I was like up to the collar. I just had to like attach the sleeves, but I didn't like the boat neck. And then I kind of realized I was only knitting it to use up scraps. I was not going to ever wear it because I don't like to wear scrappy styled clothes. So it just had to go. I'm going to be moving on to cross stitching. So, please forgive all of the hanging threads. I do park my threads and they're kind of all over the place. So, this is one of my oldest cross stitch whips. I started this at the end of 2021 and I am going to UFO this. So, this is Pulvis. The artist is Christopher Lavelle and it is charted by Unconventional Cross Stitch. I did start this 2/1 full cross, and it is like a tapestry, which I don't mind, but I don't stitch. Oop, I almost said knit. I don't stitch this way anymore. I do tent stitch, which is right next to this, which is just one. Instead of a full cross, it's just one leg of the stitch. And this was my test on whether I was going to keep it or not. If I could make my tent stitch look almost unnoticeable, I would continue, but it is so noticeable. And it'll just be like one corner of this entire gigantic project because this is only 2% of it done. It was just going to look weird, and I don't care to cross stitch like this anymore. So yeah, I won't be ripping this out because it is, I mean, let me show you the back of it. Pretty interlocked in there. And I even did this bottom side, like you can see here. This is the full cross, and then I try to do half cross here and half cross here, and you can see these little nubs sticking out. It's knotted. Like this is one of the first things I tried to cross stitch, and my technique's not even that good. So I do want the project, I just don't want to do it on this fabric. And this is 28 count Easy Grid Lugana, and yeah, it's got to go. There's plenty of fabric to start other projects. And like I said, I would rip it out, but it's too thick, too dense to do that. And like, even on this outside part, if I can find it, like there's this knot hanging out somewhere here. I can feel it. You can kind of see it barely. So anyways, the technique's not good. Mixing these together is not good. I might do the no background option So I'll have to rebuy the chart and then use a different fabric, and I'll probably do a 40 count instead of a 28 count, just because it's huge. To me, it's huge. It's probably like a 20, probably like a 17 by 20 chart, and I need to scale that way down. So I'll probably restart that on a 40 count, but I won't make that decision until I get there. Duh. I was going to buy new fabric, but I didn't want to buy fabric just to start this project. So it's just going to be on the back burner for now until I decide I want to buy fabric for it. So I think that's what I wanted to say instead of what I said. Anyways, the last project that I worked on is a new start. This is Aphrodite by, I think it's Miss Butter D or Miss D Butters, and it is charted by Unconventional Cross Stitch. This is another full coverage. It's not going to be nearly as big as Pulvis, but yeah, there's one mistake that I've made right here in this red little stitch that is in this one. And looking at the picture on my PDF, you wouldn't necessarily see that there's 30 different reds. There's not 30 different reds, but there's a million different reds and purples just in this outline in the eye. Once you zoom in, you can see how many pixelated reds there are, but I was quite surprised. But I have been enjoying the stitch. I'm so excited for it. Like, something about Aphrodite and the way she's posed, it's like giving feminine, just like divine feminine energy, and I love it. And I need to get back to this. I haven't stitched on this in the last 2 weeks, but this is how much I did in the first 2 weeks of the year. Yeah. Oh, she's beautiful. I'm gonna get back to this one. So this one I am stitching on 32 count easy grid Lugana, and yeah, I really do like Mrs. I can't remember her name, Mrs. D Butters, Mrs. Butter D's artwork and style. So I did buy another chart from Unconventional Cross Stitch in kind of like this Athens Greek god series that she has, and yeah, I'm excited to finish this one and then stitch on the other one. And they're not that big, which is a plus because I have started a lot of full coverage pieces that are ginormous. So anyways, I think that is all of my projects. I did UFO a few cross stitching projects where I like completely ripped out the stitches. I might put some of those in here. Maybe. So yeah, that is everything that I worked on in the month of January. I won't make any promises that I will continue to work on any of these projects that you've seen. I don't plan on making any plans or goals. I realize once I make a goal, it like really restricts me and I want to abandon ship and start something new. So with the exception of my March socks that I will be casting on or dyeing and then casting on, you might not see these projects next month. So yeah, I just need to like go where the mojo takes me. And I kept saying mojo because last night I watched Austin Powers. The second one where his mojo gets stolen by Dr. Evil. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what project you like seeing, or if you're happy to see me back. And I will see you again next time.